Good evening. When I was a boy, I loved baseball more than anything in the world. I loved baseball. Watched every game I could watch, collected baseball cards, knew all the stats. My life was baseball. And I was so excited when my parents signed me up for Little League. I've been watching baseball all these years. I can show everybody now what I can do. And I realized pretty quickly that that little 9.5-inch ball of wound yarn looks a lot differently when it's hurling towards your head at a rapid speed. And it scared me to death. Every time I stepped in the batter's box, I was paralyzed with fear. I would just stand there and not do a thing. I would sit in the dugout and pray for rain so that the game would be canceled, because I'm sitting there watching their hotshot pitcher warming up and just zing, zing. And I just know that's got a death sentence for me. I gave up pretty quickly. And everybody knew when I stepped to the plate, I was going to strike out. And not strike out swinging, I was going to strike out looking. Because I was afraid to even swing. Pretty soon, I just walked away from the sport I loved more than anything in the world, the sport I dreamed of competing in professionally. I was going to be just like those ball players on TV. It looked easy. I let my team down. I let my parents down. I let myself down because of fear. Fear that I was going to get beamed, and you know what? It never happened. I never got hit with a ball. But I lived in fear that it might happen. And my last at-bat was a failure. Not because I struck out, but because I didn't even try. You know, you hear the analogy all the time that life can be just like baseball, and it's true. Life can be just like my experience with baseball. We have this fantasy in our heads of what life should be. And then we turn on the TV, and we see the latest report of a violent act. We read on the internet of the perilous times that we live in. We're afraid, maybe even sometimes, to leave the house because of what might happen. And the reality of it is, our lives could be snuffed out at any minute. Just the other day, people who had no clue that it would be their last day on earth, it was their last day on earth. Like my experience with baseball, we can allow fear to destroy the few precious days of life that we have. We can live in fear of what might happen. Not the things that we do need to deal with, but we fear what might happen. I don't want to go in this public place because there might be a shooter. I don't want to get on the road. I don't want to get on I-4 because I might get in a car accident and die. But I've found personally there's a simple way to overcome this. You simply live life ready to die. Every day, live ready to die. If we can live each day prepared to die and face eternity, we don't need to fear death. We know what's coming, right? When you look in the mirror, do you see a younger you or do you see an older you? I know I see a younger me each day, but that's with my glasses off. We're going to die. We know it's going to happen. But we're gripped with fear about what might happen. But I say you don't need to waste that time being afraid. Simple formula to follow. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. Live your life this way, and the rest will take care of itself. If each day, each moment of each day is spent serving God and serving others, we're not going to let anybody down because of the fear that paralyzes us. We're going to be working. We're going to be doing. And if tragedy befalls us, so be it. We've taken that last opportunity in the batter's box to serve, to do good, to do right. Not for the glory it brings, but for that glory that Paul spoke of when he saw that vision of paradise and there were words he couldn't express. Paul had his eyes set. Paul wasn't afraid. It may sound gloomy to think about death every day, to look at life this way, to think, I could die at any moment. But if we're prepared for it, it really doesn't matter. What are we living for but for eternity? We don't face eternity in life. Where do we face it? We face it in death. Paul said in Philippians, "But if I live on in the flesh, this will mean fruit from my labor, yet I shall choose what I choose I shall not tell. For I am hard pressed between the two, having a desire to depart and be with Christ." Which is better? There's a better place than where we are. So if we leave it today, if we leave it tomorrow, we don't need to be afraid. If God is our focus. So don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Call your parents if you're blessed to still have them in your lives. Tell your spouse, your kids, your friends you love them. Talk to people about salvation and live every day like you're taking your last at-bat. Your last opportunity to serve, your last day on earth. If our lives are about serving God and others, then death isn't something lurking in the shadows, it's just a door to a better place. So I ask you tonight, are you living ready to die? Because it can come at any moment. And we don't have to be afraid. Because our Savior has taken care of that for us. So if there's anything you need to change in your life tonight, if you're afraid of death and there's anything we can help you with, whether that's turning your life over to Christ or whether that's praying for you or helping you in any way, please let us know as we stand and sing.